What is up, guys? And big welcome to our fantasy football endgame community. Thanks for joining us as always. We're here to talk about league-winning quarterbacks today, and a lot of times that comes down to value. You know the obvious names at the top. We're not going to give you Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen. Talk about which quarterbacks maybe you can wait on and will have that breakout season or just deliver great value at a low ADP. Let's start with you, Chris. Who is your first quarterback you have in mind?
Yeah, well, what do league-winning quarterbacks have in common? Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray. They run the ball a lot, right? They're almost like the Christian McCaffrey of quarterbacks in the sense that you get tons of points through the air, but you get tons of points on the ground too. And when I look at the quarterback situation this year, I mean, of course, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, I like all those guys, but they're not going to win your leagues because you're going to have to draft them in the first, 5-6 rounds of your draft. But there's a guy going later who I think legitimately is one of only 3 quarterbacks who can rush for 1,000 yards this year, and that's Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, I don't care what you think about Jalen Hurts, the passer. I don't care. It's not why I'm drafting Jalen Hurts. I'm drafting Jalen Hurts because he legitimately could rush for 1,000 yards this year. If you look at his 3 starts where he finished the games last year, at that dumb game where Doug Peterson benched him for no reason, he had over 100 yards in his first game and over 60 yards in the next 2 games. I mean, that's easily over a 1,000 yard pace if you go, over a 17-game season now. So that rushing upside alone gives him a chance to finish not just in the top 5, but as a top 3, maybe even the number 1 quarterback. And if he all he's really got to do through the air is give you like 3,000 yards and 20 touchdowns, which in today's NFL, every quarterback not named Sam Darnold gives you 3,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. So for me, Jalen Hurts, and he's being drafted like as the QB 10, sometimes even later. He's not even going inside the top 10 QBs a lot of times. So getting a guy like that at his point, that is how you find a league-winning quarterback. So to me, Jalen Hurts is the most obvious league-winning, maybe the most obvious league winner at any position, to be honest.
Yeah, and with league winners, it's always risk and reward, right? We're talking about a could break out, could have that monster season. It's not guaranteed. That's why they're not first-round picks. Okay, but first-round picks will bust, and mid to late-round picks will boom. Every year, we see a quarterback who is picked later that has that QB1 or QB2 season. All right, last year was Josh Allen. Before that, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes. Remember, as rookies, they didn't look too impressive or didn't do anything because they just didn't play. All right, so I'm going to go with the rookie who did play until he got hurt towards ACL, but was looking really good, living up to the number 1 pick billing, and that's Joe Burrow. He should be fine for week 1, and this guy, we already know what we're getting. No, you're not getting that rushing floor, hate to tell you, but you're going to get a ton of volume, and that's the one thing. Just like with wide receivers, you look for target volume, right? Target share. Well, for a quarterback, it's all about attempts. How often are they going to be given the chance to put up yards and touchdowns? Joe Burrow, he was given it right away. I mean, they didn't wait, right? They gave him the keys to the offense and said, go with it, kid. And he did that. He was looking really good up until that injury. He was averaging 40 pass attempts per game. And just imagine with Jamar Chase now, they have 3 really good wide receivers. It's just going to get better. Hopefully Joe Mixon stays healthy, has another pass catching outlet from the backfield. So really that floor should be really high, even though he doesn't have that rushing upside. This is somebody who we know has a talent. We know is in a good situation fantasy wise. And he's been taken basically as the QB 12 right now, according to drafters, barely as a starter in a 12-team league. So you can wait and you can spend a late round pick to get your starting quarterback that you don't really have to worry about all year. That's where you win your league because you spent all those earlier picks on other positions and you got your solid quarterback later on. All right, give me another option though, Chris, at quarterback.
Yeah, I got to stay on brand here. And if you watched our league-winning wide receivers, I talked about Terry McLaurin, so I got to go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And this guy's a gunslinger, which is great for fantasy. Not always great for real life, but great for fantasy. And I talked about new offensive coordinator Scott Turner. His offenses the last 2 years have thrown the ball over 600 times. I don't see that changing with Washington. There's no reason they're going to, become some run-heavy offense here. And this is now, you look at him last year in Miami, he didn't really have those huge Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of games that we're used to. He had a few, but not many. But that's because the Dolphins, they played a very conservative offense last year. They had a great defense. They just played very conservative. just try not to make many mistakes, win boring, ugly games. I mean, I know that Washington has a great defense, but I don't think that's how they're going to play with Scott Turner. They're gonna air it out. They have weapons. They have McLaurin. They have Curtis Samuel. They drafted Diami Brown. They have plenty of weapons. I think they're going to let Ryan Fitzpatrick loose. I think he's going to throw over 600 times this year, and if he does, he's going to have some absolutely massive games in this offense. And he's a guy that, in most leagues, he's not even going to be drafted. He's going to be one of those waiver wire pickup quarterbacks that help you win your fantasy league.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Again, it's all about value here. You don't have to draft him as a starter or even early at all. It could be a last round pick, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Now I'm going to go with a rookie. It seems obvious. Look, if I was going to stay on brand, obviously I'd talk about Tua again. I've already done that enough. So I'm going to go with a name that actually might seem more obvious though to everybody. It's Trevor Lawrence. Well, yeah, he was the number one pick. And, just like last year with Joe Burrow, it seems obvious he's set up for success. He is. So why is he being drafted as a QB 15 and not even as a starter in some leagues? We had a guy like Justin Herbert last year finish as a top 10 quarterback despite not starting the season as the starting quarterback. With Trevor Lawrence, it's already established. We already know he's the guy. We know that they're putting everything in place for him to succeed. Got him a running back who's also a pass catching threat out of the backfield with Etienne, former teammate. He got Marvin Jones added to Laviska Shenault, who was last year's early wide receiver pick, and DJ Chark, who's looking better this offseason. I mean, he has the weapons. He's got a coach who's going to be offensive minded, frankly, and the defense is still not good enough where they can just sit back and play ball control. He's going to get every chance to win the game or try to win the game. He's going to put up numbers. He has that rushing ability also, a little bit more of a scrambler, than a designated runner, not quite like a Hurts, but still this is a guy who has that dual threat ability. What is there not to like? So in other words, why are people not higher on Lawrence? Going into the season, I don't understand it. If you're waiting on your starting quarterback, it would seem to me like Lawrence is an obvious pick, but he's being undervalued right now. So this is a guy who has the potential, we know, to put up 4,000 passing yard season and rush for over 500 yards with some touchdowns in there. So I feel like if you're going to wait on quarterback, you take a chance with a safe guy, maybe like a Stafford, or you go with somebody who has that crazy upside like Trevor Lawrence, who has been described as a generational talent. I think that's the kind of guy I want on my fantasy team. All right, so that does it for quarterback talk. Again, check out our other episodes. We talk about league winners at running back, wide receiver, and tight end. You don't want to miss those. And of course, if you want to check out our mock drafts that we do 3 times a week, join us, part of the growing Endgame community. Look at the links in the description below and be part of our community. Thanks.